This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Doug Smith. It is Thursday at 2:30. I'm always kind of sad when it's Thursday because I do greatly enjoy these podcasts. I enjoy the opportunity to work with everybody. Yesterday we were talking about the obvious. We were talking about how the American Heart Association data from 2019, when you extrapolate it to 2025, clearly demonstrates that about 4 million people have died from an unnecessary heart attack, and that what we feel is driving those unnecessary heart attacks is adrenaline toxicity. We also showed the data from an otherwise very rare and obscure type of heart attack called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, and we showed that this otherwise very rare type of heart attack began an epidemic in about 2007, and both the 4 million dead from a cardiovascular event and the people who have had a heart attack from Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, all this is in parallel to the opioid crisis. Okay, it's stunningly obvious for anybody with any level of intellectual curiosity, which I guess there just isn't anybody at the CDC or the FDA or HHS with that level of intellectual curiosity. Gee, I wonder what's going on. Hey, look, we got 4 million heart attacks. Gee, I wonder what's going on. Hey, look, we got an epidemic of Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. Hey, wow, that's only caused by adrenaline toxicity. Gee, I wonder what's going on. Okay, and so we know what's going on. It's on the screen right in front of you. Okay, we know what's going on. Okay, we don't need anybody to tell us. Okay, we went out and got the answers for ourselves. It's on the screen right in front of you. What's on the screen in front of you? That's 15 volunteers, 15 very brave volunteers. I got a lot of respect for these people. I got an email from one of them the other day. Got a lot of respect for these people. Okay, they volunteered to go off all medicine for 3 days. And on the third day of no medicine, I mean, they were sick as dogs. Okay, y'all know how sick they were. Okay, you know what day 3 is like. Okay, they got in their cars and, well, they got somebody to drive them. They couldn't drive. And they came into Dr. Henry Emery's office. And Dr. B was there, and we drew their blood, and that's what you're looking at on the screen in front of you, is the blood work from 15 people, and we drew the blood specifically for a type of blood test called the adrenalins. Medically, we know them as the catecholamines. Okay, we don't call them the adrenalins. We call them, and medically we call them the catecholamines. Same word, adrenaline, catecholamine, same thing. And in humans, there are 3 adrenalins. There are 3 catecholamines: epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. All 3 are made predominantly in the adrenal glands. Thus the name, adrenal glands, adrenaline. Okay, and you can count as well as I can. There's 15 people. That's their blood work right there. 13 out of 15 had at least one elevated adrenaline level. Okay, only 2 people had normal levels, and I don't think either one of those 2 were in withdrawal. It's hard to go 3 days, and I don't think they were 3 days since their last dose. I think they tried to go 3 days, and they ended up taking something. That's what I think, and I base that upon their questionnaires. They just were not in full blown withdrawal. Okay, but the other 13 were, and their blood work is devastating. Okay, everybody had at least one elevated, abnormal, high adrenaline level, and a whole bunch of people had 2. Okay, and 2 of the people had the stunningly dangerous combination of epinephrine toxicity, elevated epinephrine levels, and norepinephrine toxicity, elevated norepinephrine levels. And we know that's devastatingly toxic because we saw it in the Dr. Liu study from 2020. Okay, and Dr. Liu did a study with rats, and he just put an IV in them and gave epinephrine, or gave them norepinephrine, or gave them both epinephrine or norepinephrine, and then compared them to mice that he gave salt water to. Salt water didn't do anything to the mice. Okay, epinephrine killed some of the mice. Norepinephrine killed more of the mice. But the combination of epinephrine and norepinephrine killed more mice faster than anything else. And look right there, we got 2 people with it. I got an email from one of them a couple of days ago. I'm glad he's still with us. I'm glad he's still alive. I'm glad he didn't die in this clinical trial. Okay. Well, you want to know what 4 million people have died from? It's on the screen right in front of you. Okay. There's no big mystery here. And we've been putting this data in front of the FDA since September of 2022. We're in front of the FDA right now, partially thanks to Alex, who's helped us enormously figure out how to submit more and faster. We're not dependent upon consultants anymore. Alex figured it out. That's why I want everybody to send Alex thank you note. I hope he's getting a whole bunch of them. I hope he gets a bunch of thank you notes every day. Send Alex thank you note, everybody. You wouldn't be hearing my voice without Alex. Okay. So we're in front of the FDA right now. And in fact, we're due to hear from the FDA again. It's either going to be the Friday after Thanksgiving, which I kind of doubt, or the following Monday, which, if I'm not mistaken, is December 1st. So I'm thinking we're going to hear from the FDA on December 1st. And they'll either give us permission to proceed forward with our phase 3 clinical trial, or they'll continue their clinical hold and they'll give us a list of reasons. Okay. Typically, they turn us down for 2 reasons. Okay. They don't like me as a principal investigator. Okay, fine. You don't like me, fine. Okay. So Dr. Fetzum, Bob Fetzum, a cardiothoracic surgeon, stepped forward to be our principal investigator on this submission to the FDA. We'll see what they say to that. And what they really don't like is that we refuse and will continue to refuse and never will agree. Yeah, I can be that stubborn. We're never going to agree. They want us to do an arm of the study where we allow people to be in withdrawal. Okay, we either give them a pill that looks just like buprenorphine, but it's actually just a sugar pill. No, I'm not doing that. That will intentionally put people into what you see on the screen in front of you. We called an emergency clinical halt to this, and now they want us to do it again. And no, we called an emergency halt. We called an emergency halt based on the numbers you see in front of you. We called off the rest of our clinical trial. We've done enough anyway. Okay, and no, FDA, we're not going to crank it back up just because you don't believe our data. That's what it comes down to. I think they think we faked the data, which we didn't. Okay. But they want what's called a comparator group, a group to compare to. And they want it to be either a group that takes a pill that looks just like buprenorphine, but it's a sugar pill, it's a placebo, or they want a group that's on Vivitrol, naltrexone. Both of which, the sugar pill or naltrexone, will give you the numbers like what you see on the screen in front of you. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to kill anybody. Okay, we got darn lucky somebody didn't die from what's on the screen in front of you. Okay, I'm not going to push our luck. I'm not going to do it again. So we'll dig our heels in, and we'll fight the FDA. And that's what we've been doing now for over 3 years. And the reason we want this phase 3 clinical trial is so that we can get the treatment IND going, the treatment investigational new drug, so that we can use telemedicine to put people on buprenorphine nationwide. And if we'd been allowed to do it 3 years ago, a lot of people would still be alive. Okay. The more I write the book, the more that's coming out. By the way, at some point next week, I will. It does look like I will finish the editing of the book. It does look like either before or during the vacation holiday, Thanksgiving holiday, I will complete the editing of the book, which means if these guys can really do what they say they can do, we'll have a book ready for distribution second week in December. Wow, boy, that'd be something. And then Alex, you and I are gonna do a lot of emailing at that point. We really ought to probably start doing a lot of emailing tomorrow. So everybody, I hate to say goodbye. Have a great weekend. Alex and I will be back on Monday. Looking forward to it. Please let us hear from you. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, those of you who we sent a copy of chapter 1, and now we've got chapter 2 going out. I think that email went out today, Alex. Let me know. I've been working on the edits for chapter 6 and kind of lost track of time. I meant to ask you that earlier. Everybody have a great weekend. we'll see you back on Monday. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media, everybody else's social media, and especially on Carol Bennett's social media. If you don't know what that means, go back and listen to yesterday's podcast. And Carol, if you got the podcast, Carol, that was not a very smart letter to write. That was really not. You mocked our people, Carol. You mocked people who had survived imminent death. And you mocked people who, they all know someone who died, Carol. And you sent a very mocking letter. And that's going to come back to you, Carol. That's going to come back. We're going to make sure it does. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.